Netflix just spent $83 billion to buy Warner Bros. Harry Potter, DC, Game of Thrones, The Dark Knight, Succession, White Lotus, it's all moving to Netflix. But here's the thing nobody's talking about. This deal isn't just the biggest acquisition in entertainment history ever. It's the single biggest signal that the creator economy is changing forever. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have a personal stake in this conversation, hence why I'm making this video. Because one of the prospects for this show, and it's already been confirmed, is that it will eventually be on Netflix. The Adnaan Jassat show, that's the vision. And when a deal like this lands, I don't just watch it as a spectator, I study it like a playbook. So whether you're a creator, founder, or someone just trying to understand where the world's going, stick with me 10 minutes because what I'm about to break down could genuinely change how you think about what you're building. So let's start with the deal itself because the numbers are insane. Warner Bros. Discovery, the company that owns Warner Bros., as well as film studios, DC Comics, HBO Max, CNN, and some of the other most valuable intellectual property on the planet, just agreed to be acquired by Netflix for $82.7 billion. To put that into perspective, that's more than the GDP of, I think, 60 countries. Now, Warner Bros. Hasn't always been on top. They had a few rough years when AT&T merged it with Discovery back in 2022. They inherited over $43 billion in their debt. Their stock lost more than 60% of their value and the company was bleeding cash. Netflix came in and said, hey, we might take it. What does Netflix get out of this? The answer is everything. We're talking about a film studio that's been making movies for over 100 years. The DC Universe, Superman, Batman, the entire Harry Potter franchise. HBO, which has produced arguably the greatest television ever made. Game of Thrones, Sopranos, The Wire, all of that content, that IP, that library now sits inside Netflix's own housing. But here's what I want to focus on, because the content library, as incredible as it is not the most interesting part of the story for you as a creator. What this deal tells you is that the old model of entertainment is dying. Think about it. A few years ago, every major studio was trying to build its own streaming platform. Disney had Disney Plus, Warner had HBO Max, Paramount had Paramount Plus, NBC Universal had Peacock. They all thought they could compete with Netflix by going alone. It didn't work. Most of them have been burning cash for years trying to build subscriber bases. And now Warner Bros., one of the most iconic studios in history, is considering selling itself to the company they were initially trying to compete with. That isn't a coincidence. That is the market sending a very clear message. I've seen this pattern before, and I mean that literally. I've invested in companies early before most people understood what they were becoming. I was an early investor in Postmates, Foursquare, Tesla, Snapchat AI, and in every single one of those cases, what I was betting on wasn't just the product, I was betting on distribution, on reach, on building the subscriber base, on who was going to own the most real estate in people's daily lives. Tesla wasn't just a car company. It was a software and energy distribution company that just happened to make cars. Postmates wasn't just a food delivery. It was a last mile logistics distribution. And Snapchat AI wasn't just a filter. It was a distribution mechanism for how the next generation communicates. Netflix has always been about one thing: getting in front of more people than anyone else. 325 million paid subscribers globally. That's the asset. It's not the content nor the reach. Content alone isn't enough anymore. Distribution is king, and the platform that has the most eyeballs wins. So the old world, the studios, the cable networks, the legacy media company, they are merging, selling, consolidating, struggling to survive. But that's just one half of the story. The other half, Netflix is using all of that power to go in a completely different direction. And that direction is you. While Hollywood is quickly merging to survive, Netflix is quietly doing something that nobody expected. They are becoming, slowly but surely, a creator platform. Not just a streaming service, not just a studio. A full creator ecosystem. And they're coming directly for YouTube's crown. Let me give you the receipts. First, Netflix just redesigned the entire mobile app. They're rolling out vertical short-form video feeds, swipeable, like TikTok, Instagram Reels, Snapchat. This is a company with 325 million subscribers, and they're building a short-form content discovery engine inside that app. That's not a small move. Second, podcasts. Netflix has gone on a signing spree. They did a deal with Spotify to bring the Ringer network, Bill Simmons, Zach Lau, all of it exclusively to Netflix. They did a deal with iHeartMedia to bring over 15 major video podcasts to the platform. The Breakfast Club, Dear Chelsea, My Favorite Murder. They signed with Barstool. They're in talks with SiriusXM. They are aggressively pulling podcast content off YouTube and putting themselves behind it. Think about what that means. These podcasts that built their entire audience on YouTube, they're casually moving to Netflix. Netflix is essentially buying off their exclusivity. Third, creators. Mr. Beast is on Netflix. Mark Rober is on Netflix. Miss Rachel built her audience on YouTube and Netflix, increased her content and put it in front of 300 million people. Kill Tony, a podcast that started in a comedy club, funny enough, is now a Netflix special. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos literally described Netflix as the graduation point for YouTube creators. His words, not mine. And they just spent $600 million acquiring Ben Affleck's AI production company to help make sure that they have the tools to help creators who were on YouTube produce content faster and at a higher level. That's simply not a company staying in its own lane anymore. That's a company that is actively recruiting the creator economy. Now let's actually break it down to what this means for you if you're a creator or if you have a business that is creating. Let's actually talk about the part that matters. What this means if you're building a brand, growing an audience, creating content in whichever way right now. Because I think most creators don't know this. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm the first person making this video to talk about it. Here's the first thing I want you to understand. understand. Netflix is paying creators who have a USP, not generic content, not copy-paste content, not I also make content talking about this topic content. Netflix is looking for creators who have a unique angle, a specific audience, a defined point of view, and they're offering them a platform with 300 million people on it, plus the best monetization model in the world. Look, I built multiple startups, including Thriller, into the largest marketplace in the world. We didn't do that by being another marketplace. We did that by going deep into a specific culture. Sneakers, streetwear, current culture, in a region that nobody else was serving properly. That specificity is what made us valuable. That's the same principle that Netflix is now applying to creators with a USP. Sarandos himself said Netflix believes that they have the best monetization model on the planet for premium storytelling, and I believe it. That means if you build something real, something of genuine value, Netflix wants to be home for it and they'll pay you for it. The second thing, and this is massive, the line between YouTube creator and Netflix show is slowly fading. A few years ago, if you wanted to be on Netflix, you needed a Hollywood agent, a production company, a development deal, lots of meetings and lots of luck. Trust me, I tried. And that world is gone. Mr. Beast didn't get a Netflix deal because he got a Hollywood agent. He got it because he had a USP and he had an audience. Mark Rober didn't pitch a development deal. He bought a fan base. Your audience is your pitch deck. I started my first company at 15. No Hollywood connections, no investors, no fancy office, just a specific vision and a willingness to go all in on it. The world has always rewarded people who show up with something real, something that's not packaged. That's what Netflix is looking for right now. The third thing also is Netflix is opening up formats that didn't exist previously on the platform before. Short form is coming, podcasts already there. Gaming has been on Netflix since 2021 and they've just kept on expanding it. Live events, sports commentary, food reviews, travel content. Netflix is diversifying what Netflix content even means. That means creators who were told your format doesn't fit traditional streaming now actually have the biggest advantage on a real path to becoming the biggest platform on earth. Now let's actually dive a bit into Warner Bros. Let me bring back the acquisition here because there's a creator angle that almost nobody is talking about. When and if Netflix closes this deal, they don't just get the Harry Potter franchise and Batman, they get HBO's entire production infrastructure. They get one of the most sophisticated studios in the world. They get Warner Bros. Relationships with the best directors, writers, and talent on the planet. What does that mean specifically for creators? It means that Netflix just became the most resource-rich platform for original content that has ever existed. The tools, the infrastructure, the talent network, all of it now available to deploy on Netflix originals. And I want to be transparent with you. This is precisely why Netflix has approached us for the Adnaan Jassat show. It's not just having a story worth telling on that scale. The companies, the investments, the community that we've built, all of that IP, all of its content, and a platform like a post-acquisition Netflix with Warner Bros. Production infrastructure behind it is the kind of platform that can take a story like that and put it in front of the world. That's understanding where the opportunity is and preparing for it. Think about that combination for any creator. You've got a genuine audience, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 subscribers, a specific niche, a specific voice, something concrete, something real. And now you have access to a platform with Warner Bros. Production capabilities, a global distribution network of 300 million subscribers, and a monetization model that can actually pay you properly for premium content. That's a completely different game than posting on YouTube, hoping the algorithm finds you. Here's the business lesson underneath all of this, and this applies to you whether you're a creator or an entrepreneur or an investor. Distribution always wins. Warner Bros. Made some of the greatest content ever produced, but they couldn't distribute it to enough people efficiently enough to survive on their own. Netflix doesn't always make the best content in the world, but they can put any piece of content in front of 325 million people at any time. That's why they win. I learned this lesson early. When I invested in Postmates, the food wasn't the product. The delivery network wasn't the product. The distribution, in fact, was the product. When I looked at Tesla early on, it wasn't just about the car, even though at the time they were making cars. It was about a D2C distribution model that cut out every single middleman in the automotive industry. That's why it was worth betting on. That separated them from the competition. The same principle applies to whatever it is you're building today. Distribution is key. Your content can be world-class. Your product can be absolutely incredible, but if you don't have distribution, a platform, an audience, a way to get it in front of people, it doesn't matter. We have meetings every day. We have meetings every week reiterating the fact that you need to build a distribution before your actual product or service. You need to get your audience in place, your email list, your community, your social following. That is your most valuable asset. Don't get it twisted. Not your product, not your content. Distribution. Thriller wasn't just a marketplace. It was a community. WhatsApp, Discord, Instagram, a real engaged audience of sneaker people who trusted us. That community was worth more than any inventory we ever held or any amount that we ever raised, because community is everything. Community is distribution. Right now, Netflix is saying, bring us your distribution, bring us your audience, and we will amplify that 100-fold to the world. That's the opportunity that's on the table. So what do you do with all of this information? 3 things. Number 1, niche down hard. Netflix is not coming for generic creators. They're coming for people with a clear point of view and a specific audience. The more specific you are, the more valuable you become. Don't try to be everything. Be the best at one thing. Build your lane so deep that you become the obvious choice in that space. I didn't try to build the biggest marketplace in the world. I built the biggest fashion and creator marketplace in the world. Hyper-specific, hyper-focused. And that focus is exactly what made it valuable. Apply the same content logic to your content. Number 2, treat your platform like a business, not a hobby. The creators getting Netflix deals didn't stumble into them. They actually built real audiences, real engagement, real community over the years. Mr. Beast didn't get a Netflix deal by accident. He built one of the most optimized content machines in history. It was never heard of before he did it, and he did it over a decade of showing up every day. I've been building companies since I was 15. I've had wins, I've had failures, but the one thing that has never changed is that I treated every single thing like it was a real business from day one. Not a side project, not a hobby. That mindset is simply what separates the people who end up on Netflix from the people who end up watching Netflix. Number 3, start thinking about your content as IP. Now, personally, this was a difficult shift for me, but look at Harry Potter. It's worth billions, not because it's a good story. Yes, it is, but because it was built into IP. Books, films, merchandise, theme parks, games, movies. The story became a universe. Your content can work the same way. Think about the show for a second. That's not just a show title. That's the brand. That's the body of work, the companies I've built, the investments I've made, the people I've helped, the lessons I've lived. All of that is IP. I've been building it intentionally over years so that now when the Netflix deal comes, it's already your channel, your broadcast, your IP. If you build it right, that becomes intellectual property, and intellectual property is what Netflix just spent $83 billion to get more of. I hope you start treating your content that way. So to take this to a close, Hollywood is consolidating because it's scared. Netflix is expanding right now because it's confident. And right now, they are actively opening the door for creators to come in and build the most powerful distribution machine ever created. I spent my career betting on the right platforms at the right time. Postmates before food delivery was mainstream. Tesla before EVs were taken seriously. Snapchat AI before people understood what AI meant. Every one of those bets was about seeing the shift before it became obvious. This is the shift. Netflix is potentially buying Warner Bros. If not Paramount will buy. And simultaneously, building a creator ecosystem is not a coincidence. It's the convergence of old media and new media into one platform. And the creators are sitting right at the center of it. The question is, are you building something worth putting through that door? This show will soon be on Netflix. And when I do, I'm not going to walk in with a PowerPoint. I'm going to walk in with an audience, a body of work, and a story that's been in the making for lots of years. That's how you do it. I hope you go build yours. I hope this has given you some sort of value. And no matter what, I'm watching out and I'm rooting for you to win.